Jumbo Africa.
Jumbo Africa is a full house once again today. Pre-season has started, but yes, we still have our time with the legend. And I see this postponement. You're starting on the 20th now.
Yeah.
The coaching course, is it? Yeah. We're here. Yeah. So, for us, there's never any off-season.
I was doing the other sport over the weekend that loved us, which we can't mention here.
The money sport, eh? No. The money sport. Well, well, the coach will know here. This past weekend, I was at the Bill Stewart tournament in that school, Hilton College. To you, I was there inside that Hilton College. Now I can understand why. There's a Zungu pavilion there, and I will show you this. It's going to come out there on the African Football Connect platform, the Zungu platform. And it's written there, when they are unveiling something. They say this plaque was opened by a former student, and what do they call it there, Hilton? Old boy.
Old boy.
Yeah, an old boy and also a parent. And now we're talking about Mr. Sandile Zungu. That's Zungu Pavilion. You must go there, you will see it. But enough on what has been happening this past weekend. We are back again here on African Football Connect, talking African football. Plenty to talk about. Once again, there was a CAF Executive Committee meeting this past weekend, but also besides that, the Women's African Cup of Nations. What were you saying again? Okay. WAFCON. Okay.
The proper team are winning.
The proper teams are winning.
The ones that are going to the finals and take the trophy.
The last time you said this, there were tears. So
No, that was under 17. And that's you.
Under 20, don't do the under 20.
Yeah, under 20. Sorry. When I went to Nigeria, I went to the FA. I told that team should be disbanded. Because they didn't do us proud.
Okay.
Yes, but most importantly, it is to also see the increase in the prize money. What is it? 100% increase for the first prize. So there's a lot that we can be talking about. Coach Rolani, some developments there. Where we will touch on that. But I think let's start with the transfers. And when it comes to the transfers, we can see a team like Orlando Pirates in January. I know that a lot of us were questioning why Pirates is not beefing up, and you can see now the way they're strengthening their team, and it's something that Oga, we have been talking about in terms of teams must go to West Africa, and Orlando Pirates already has got 2 players coming from Mali, from AC Joliba, a team that was playing in the CAF Champions League, and it's good to see Pirates signing from the CAF Champions League space in West Africa. We've been preaching this thing here with Zizo, especially the direction that Sundowns should be taking.
Yeah, for me, Pirates, they've done their homework. Before the season ended, they already, make the plans, who they wanted and the position they want. And you can see when the preseason, started now, all the players are available for the coach, to start the preseason, which is very important. You as a new coach, you don't want to come into a team and you're still waiting for players to get to to get used to your system and other things. Get used to the club, the culture. I saw the players, the new players. The likes of the former captain, Lucky, and what's his name again, Tabol Malloy. They went, they went to let them know how big is Pirate, which is very important. And for me, the biggest thing Pirate did was getting these players before the season end. And now the players are here, they're going for pre-season in Spain. But the only disappointment I have is just some of the players that we know probably might play the season. When the season is on, they're still back home, the likes of Inda. Inda, I think, for me, he's a top centre-back. He should be going to Spain. He's injured, we know that. But you can still, get a treatment over there, be part of the team, So, but anyway, they know the best.
Will it not be high intensity there?
No, but you take your players that that during the season, they're going to play. Because Inda, give or take, when the season is on, he either play the Champions League or the league. because he's one of the top players. We're talking about one of the captain in the team, you know. So I feel, but they know better. They know better. But the good thing, you know, the players they needed, you know, they got the players, and yeah, I just feel like, you know, this season Pirates will compete against Sundowns.
There's been some not really questions. So, hey, did Pirates really sign the right player when they announced that other one first? Because at first they signed Abdoulaye Mariko, the 22-year-old, who's more of a defensive midfielder, and then they went for the playmaker. Another one, another Abdoulaye Mariko as well, but who's more of an offensive player, which I feel that is going to put the position of someone like Tito at risk there. What do you think happened there? Or maybe it's a different kind of a profile? Or maybe when they were still busy doing the analysis of signing the defensive midfielder, they spotted another talent.
Yeah, that might be the reason. Sometimes when you're busy looking at this one, you see something else.
Like Musona,
you know,
they went there looking for Thomas Sweswe, then they saw Musona.
Yeah, it may have been a situation like that. And it doesn't really hurt much, coach, to change your mind during preparation. Obviously, whether it was a right decision or not, we'll see as the season goes. But I'm happy on the point that you have mentioned that it's about time that our teams need to look on the West African region. They are talented players there, and sometimes you can be lucky, find someone good, younger, bring them here, prepare them, and you can sell them to Europe for a lot of money. I mean, I always make an example of Young, who went to Cape Town, the former Cape Town, IS Cape Town.
Sure.
You know, he came here. He was pretty much unknown and proved to be a very, very good footballer. You know, they sold him to IS Amsterdam for a lot of money. So it's a direction which I think most teams need to follow. I know it needs a little bit of time, a little bit of money to go look. But if you're lucky, you find the right players, really, you can strike a goal there. So for that one, I think Pirates have done well by sort of recruiting from the continent. And also, when you look domestically, I think they've struck gold with Appollis. Appollis will add a lot of value for them. It's a top player. I like Kwaiba. I think Kwaiba is another player who, given opportunities, may grow to become a top player. I like his physique. He's quite a specimen, you know. He's got the right physique. I just don't know him personally, what type of a person he is. I also like Mbule. I think if they can create the right environment.
I Pirates has signed.
Yeah, if for Mbule also, I know sometimes maybe it may be a difficulty in a team environment where certain players may feel that you are favoring him. But a special player like that, you need to make everybody understand that you need to treat him a little bit differently. Not to favor him that much, but to create the right environment for him to express himself.
Exactly.
And also the responsibility is on him, really. As you have said here before, coach is to say he needs to grow up. He needs to take his football seriously. If Mbule pump it up, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, because one of the things that I also like about Mbule is that when the dressing room clicks with him, you know, because of the kind of a person that he is, you know, it's just the other things off the field.
Yeah.
But inside the dressing room, when he's on, he's on. Yeah. And you're going to feel that. But I want us to stay on this signing of someone like Appollis. What does it mean? Does it mean that Pirates is also seriously considering some offers for someone like Relay as well? And if these deals will not happen for Relay, how do you use them together? Because when you look at, we've been watching Appollis, guys, and I remember even the recent game against Mozambique. The moment he came on in that game, you could feel that he's on the pitch, and without a doubt, he becomes the signing of the season so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the signing of Appollis really shows you the intention of what a lot of Pirates is trying to do in terms of wanting to compete in the African space, which is they
100%.
need that strength and they need somebody, which means on my side, it will free up Rele to be more creative because they're going to move him more into a 10 position.
Okay.
So him coming more into a 10 position allows Appollis to be on the wider areas. So when you just picture the starting lineup of Orlando Pirates, yes, that's now you can say now that team they mean really they mean business on what they're trying to do. So for me, having such a player, a magnificent profile. I think if you look at his attributes, he's very good on his 1v1s. He can take on players. He's got a very good engine in terms of defending. He always limits the distance between his fullback and his winger. He always he helps. He's got a very good work rate ethics. And also his physical capacity also allows him, because as a wing player, that is very nippy, very short, plays a lot of combination pass, which is what it's needed for a player that plays on the wide position, because what you look for when you have players that are playing on the side, there's we call it tactics. So when you talk about individual tactics, you look at Appollis. Appollis will have those combination passes to break in to disorganize the back four, or which is again, as a winger, we need you to make penetrative runs, which is that he's got that in abundance, which is speed.
And the other thing, just to add, what Pirates did very well this season, if you check the Sundowns team, if Sundowns play, they play their first 11, the guys in the bench or the guys in the stand, you can see the depth. So they don't lose too much points. But you can see last season, towards the end of the season, when Pirates were playing the continental football and the league, they didn't have that too much depth to carry on, when the other players are getting tired. But with this signing they did now, a position to position, I think it's not going to be much different. So the strength is there, the quality is there, and they perform well in their team. So I just feel like, if a team this season that we compete with Sundowns, I think Pirates will give it a go.
Sure.
Just to add also, the other thing that the Manchester hope it happens for them. We've seen so many times players come from so-called smaller teams, go to a big club, and they fail to live up to expectations. If these guys can really, the Mdlulis and Namatajela and Mbutuma, they really sort of they up the game.
Yes, and I think another advantage here is that Nemtajela is being coached by a coach who was coaching him
with him
at Marumo Gallants. So but also especially when the CAF Champions League has started, and I think this is another good thing, is that most of the players Pirates has signed have just made the Bafana debuts. So it means that already they are part of that 50 group that coach Hugo Bruce is looking at. So it's international players, because you also get, someone like Nemtajela, he's got 5 caps already coming from the COSAFA. In fact, they can even afford, if they're smart about this thing, to even release some of them to be part of the Chan squad.
To gain more experience.
Get more experience there, and even get to be noticed already, because there are a lot of European scouts that go there, especially someone like Nemtajela and the other players who were in that COSAFA Cup squad. But I'm just looking at Dean Mariko, the offensive player, 4 assists, 14 goals, player of the season in Mali. And we know, we've been talking about this West African talent. So this tells you that they are looking for, I know that foreign players can take time to adapt, but also they are looking at someone who can make an immediate impact.
In West Africa, it's going to be more easier for you to adapt in certain regions, because, we're more closer. Talking about the South Americans, it's a little bit far, you take time. The experience is there. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not work. But in the West Africa, Southern region, where you have a player that, can adapt quickly, that's a plus for your team. And the other team we must understand.
And you have a coach who's also speaking French.
So
yes.
It makes it easy for you.
So I just feel like Pirates, for a very long time, this is the best transfer market they have gone into, spotted the right position they want, and have a young coach that really play attacking football. The other thing again, he need to understand that other teams now are going to stay low block. You know, coach, you testify with that, because now Pirates is a big team. Apollos, like, you know, when he was playing for Polokwane City, normally they play counter-attack against other teams. So now he must understand that other teams now will be, they'll double up against him. So he need to penetrate. They need to find situation out of nothing to create, you know, to create the chances, you know. So other teams going to Orlando to play, but not everything we attack. You choose, you can count with your hand. Sundowns, we try to attack, definitely. Apart from Sundowns, you know, apart from the derby, other team going to Orlando, they will stay low block, wait for some Pirate to come to them, for them to play a counter-attack. So how are these players, the new players, even the old ones, Rele is going to be, he has been there, he has done it so many times, you know, if he's going to be there this season again, so they need to make a plan how to break that, you know, that, we call it the boss coach, It's double decker. Because when you go to Orlando, you have to take a double decker. You don't just take one flat one.
I think also when it comes to the Western African, I think the additions of their side helps us in terms of the physical attributes. As South Africans, we don't have the biggest of build. If you can see our centre backs and also our centre defensive midfielder. So when you have a certain players that we need to go cast our net outside Africa, where we're going to look for those physical attributes, because what do they give? They give you the structure, the intimidation into certain position. Look at the profiling of Ndlovu. Look at his height. He's tall. Which is the tallest defender that we've always had in South Africa. You can date back to your Sempem. You go back to that era. Now you start looking at the spine. The spine is formed by the people that work hard, that keep it simple, which is the African side. We, on the other end, we are more in terms of the dynamic side, the dribbling, the flair, the what. So that we have in abundance. But what's our shortage? Our shortage is having that robust midfielder, robust defenders, the
Kasande.
Yes, the people that can do the dirty job while you let the others to fully express themselves. Because you would not actually have a Rele performing so well when we don't have the Makaulis who will do the dirty job. So now finding somebody that has scored so much goals, that has an appetite to attack and also have an appetite to defend. So having that balance neutralizes a lot of things.
But one of the areas where Paris has lost, Maela has retired. They've lost Mako. So you know that they've been looking at filling that left back position. I think that's one of the few positions that now they have not really filled. And one of the players that they were also looking at, Vuyoli Tlapa from Skukune. I know that the Austrian team that has been looking at signing him even watched him during the COSAFA. In fact, this is a deal that should have been clinched even during the COSAFA tournament. But I think there have been delays about that one. I'm not sure even if they will still find each other, Skukune and the Austrian team that is looking at getting him. So maybe someone that Paris could also go for if that deal doesn't happen. But, and there's I'm not sure if Paris will also be willing to pay what these guys are looking for, Stellenbosch, for Passadien, because at some stage it all looked like he was going to Chiefs, and then Sundowns came back strongly for him. So time will tell in that space. I know that my colleague Mazola did a story that also there are 2 North African clubs that are monitoring him as well. This brings me to the interview that you did, because even at centre back, you remember even when Da was injured, there was a strong feeling that exactly they didn't have a lot of options there. You did an interview. I also did an interview with him, but I want you to talk first, because you had a longer interview with him. Maloisane, you feel that it's someone that they could be going for?
Yeah, I think he's an option for Pirates. Obviously, going to Africa, maybe there may be a little bit of a question about height, because most teams on the continent they go high. They can really punish you if you are not that tall enough. But as a player, I think he's a player who I'm just surprised that he has not moved to a so-called bigger club. Also, on the left-hand side, I think there will be a problem for Pirates there next season. If I were Pasadena, I will seriously consider Sundowns, going to Sundowns, maybe let me say this way, I will seriously consider not going to Sundowns.
Not going to Sundowns, yes.
Because Sundowns have got enough stocks there.
Yes.
And also, if he goes to Sundowns, it may affect his chances of going to AFCON. There may be a financial issue at Pirates. Maybe that's where his people need to go in there and negotiate properly. I'm sure he can get a good deal at Pirates if they negotiate. They find a very
especially
nice
looking Champions League. Remember, he was playing CAF Confed this season. Elevate, go to the Champions League, and also look at you are playing around other Bafana players.
Yes,
he has his right back there, and right back.
And coach, as they always say, you know, a team like Pirates,
and Ndlovu also in the midfield.
A team like Pirates will give you the stage. They're in the Champions League now. Pirates are a team that hopefully they'll continue playing, competing for cup finals. I will, sort of advise to say maybe consider Pirates. He's a definite starter at Pirates at left back. He's not going to be competing with anybody. At Sundowns, there's Divine Lunga, there's Masiho, there's all sorts of people there. You don't know who's going to play. At the moment, it looks like Sundowns at left back. The coach prefers Lunga. You still have got the Obrimudiba also, who's a Bafana player. So it's one thing that he needs to really, really decide. But at the end of the day, it comes down to runs and cents.
I'm just giving you less than 4 minutes on Pirates. We need to move out of Pirates.
Yeah, you need to maybe do this pre-season. When the coach has the opportunity now for them to try a different system.
Yes.
With Pirates, because they're a big team. Don't you think they can play three at the back? Because they're a big team and they have a lot of midfielders that can cover spaces. So if you play at Orlando, you can say definitely that team's going to play low block. You can play three at the back. You have the young boy that plays centre back, which always he's there. You have the centre back. You have the Koki. You have the right back. And now the midfield is okay there.
And,
you have more.
And actually, there were matches towards the end where they played three centre backs.
I think just to answer on that one, Greg, it's a good observation in a sense that. They know if they play with three at the back, all those players that deliver the back have more speed. So you can't really press the team high up. So having positional advancement when you are more into their space, you need to be careful on how you're going to be defending and what's the personalities like at the back. Is it strong people that can defend, they are good on the 1v1 duels? Is there players that can actually help you out with speed? Is the keeper is able to read situations and then come out? So then that qualifies your question in terms of saying yes, they can play three at the back to allow for more positional advancements into the opposition's half. Because if you have more numbers there, you're pressing the team not to be able to come out. So your counter press will actually be effective because you're already on their box. So this helps you much in terms of also having creativity. Even if teams do sit, you got the wider areas where you can exploit. So if you exploit the wider areas, then it will allow that, meaning if you're playing whether with your 2 10s, they will be able to infiltrate actually the 2 centre backs when they pin them down.
Well, very interesting. We've been talking about it, and you know that Orlando Pirates, one of the things that has impressed me also about their signings so far is, as you can see, the list of the Pirates confirmed signings there so far, but also is the age that they've been looking at. I mean, Appollis is just 23, the Malians 22, 21. I mean, I think only player there, Mbule is 27, and also Ndlovu 29. Ndlovu is the eldest player. The Pirates has not signed anyone over 30. In fact, all their players are below 30. So that just tells you about their intentions, more energetic and also more long term, and also there's a resellable value as well.
So your return of investment, you can actually get it back because of those players. Appollis, for instance, whatever that they've paid, they can double it up. Whatever that they have with the Malian, they can also double it up because if you consider the age in between, that allows you to play around in terms of players that are coming around him, and also with this tactical adjustment. Because in terms of the technical side, I think that's why they got him.
I just hope Pulugonef got a salon clause on that Appollis.
that would be good business.
No. But you must know that signings like those, they are also down to relations between the clubs. Relations are very important.
That's very true.
Relations are very important.
The favors are going to start coming because players that don't get game time, they've got a home where they can resuscitate their careers.
Where was who's this boy, man? the trickster from the Val. Rachale.
Oh, Rachale.
Remember Rachale at
Yeah.
Polokwane City?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I must say is that we've been talking about the incomings, but before we move, a big story that has just came out, as you can see there, Monnapule Saleng. A lot has been said. Has he signed a pre-contract? Where is he going? Will somewhere else? Will he be with Orlando Pirates this coming season? He has not played. But remember, Monnapule Saleng has not played for Orlando Pirates since December last year. Now, reports of him going to Orbit on loan, possibly. Not really surprising. I know that he could have ended up elsewhere. I will not mention where. He could have elsewhere on loan as well. He could have moved somewhere else on loan, but he's going to. And I think for me, it's not really surprising that he's going to Orbit, because the moment Orbit got promoted, and Saleng is not training with Pirates, and also he's got history with Orbit. Remember, this is a team that the coach is Coach Pochisho. Makoye is the coach who was working on that fine talent, as a talent that was coming from Blonwolf in the Northwest. Then he moved to Free State Stars. At Free State Stars, remember the season where he had a direct contribution of, I think it was 10 goals and 14 assists. And Pirates snatched him from the jaws of Cape Town City, who were looking for him to sign him. So he's not lost when he goes there. Because also, remember, there's another issue whether you don't know if he's signing an extension or he's not signing an extension with Pirates. So what happens after maybe the loan of Orbit, you know? So you also want to see a happy Saleng, because there's another coach, the assistant coach there at Orbit, is, even besides Coach Pokhiso, is someone who's also very close, very, very, very close. I will not say how close, and also what becomes his role.
But boss, for me with Saleng, I think for what he has contributed for Pirates for over the years and not playing off the field situation, I think that can be forgiven. You understand, and he should be, because he's a new coach, he should be back to the team. He can play in this Pirate team. For me, definitely, natural left footer. He can dribble, he can contribute. He contributed a lot for them. When he was playing. For me, I just feel like there's other teams. If Pirate don't want him, but because of the relationship, I don't know. So, but this other team he can go and exploit, because we're talking about a player that's he has goals in him, he has dribble in him, he can contribute both defensive and attacking. At Free State Stars, he does that. At Swallows, he really did that. At Swallows too. So for me, I'm looking at a player that should go for a team that can see him more. Because with Orbit, you never really know the players they're going to sign after he goes on loan. Because sometimes players need to contribute what you're contributing to. So you need to have better players around. At Pirates, at Swallows and at Free State Stars, Free State Stars, he came out, gone blazing. At Pirates, there's a lot of good players around him. Orbit now is a new team. They're not going to have the best players of the season to sign, because most of the best players now have gone to teams that really want them. So they will need to get the players that free agents and all this stuff. So for me, I'm looking at Bafana, the player that can contribute in Bafana, in that left side. You have Appollis there, which is fine, but you still need to have. Like, we're talking about the depth. We're talking about not only the league. We're talking about competing with the Cups and mostly the Champions League. So I just feel like Orbit is going to be a good fit for him if he settle well immediately. But there's other teams that I think he needs to be, landlights can be.
I think for me, my side.
But I think what is important is that you must also understand that he's still the property of Pirates. Yes. So end of the day, it's Pirates who will give direction as to where he goes.
You see, like team like TS Galaxy, he can excel there. He can excel, because you have players that can, contribute for him too.
But also you understand. Did you listen to? You're gonna come in now. Did you listen to? Pokhiso Mokoye when they were promoted. You remember his words?
Yeah.
You remember his words? What did he say?
I think for me,
What did you say?
the most important thing is get somebody that's going to appreciate the player.
Okay.
Get somebody that's going to revive the career of this boy. Because this boy is broken down. Broken down by a big team. So this is an opportunity for him to then come back and revive his career. And how great it is to go back to where it all started and somebody that understands you. That is going to give you that opportunity. So for me, when he goes there, he has himself to prove to the public that he's still the Saleng that we want to see.
He's not going to be Pele there. He's not Messi.
No.
He's not going to dribble all the
Let's understand.
You need people to contribute. It's a team. It's not a golf. It's a team of 11 players.
Let me
what
make you understand something.
What I'm trying to say, you will excel with a little bit of players that, seasoned players around you.
Let me get the point so that you understand.
Okay.
Let me make this point. I'm not saying it's going to be Pele. I'm saying we have to see the Saleng that we all fell in love with. Yes, he's not going to do it alone.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is give back the trust for someone to actually execute to what we know him for. National team needs him.
Yeah.
We as a country needs him. Pirates needs him. Off the field
No, Pirates don't need him. Because they allow him to go. If they need you, you stay there.
No. Remember,
No.
Understand
Coach,
one thing.
if Pirates need you, you
Let me
stay
make
there.
the point. Let me make the point so then you can understand me. Pirates need him. It's the off the field matters that made him to leave.
But you can sort out that one. Mbule, what's his name? He came down from the one from Sekukune. Mbule,
Yes.
the midfielder.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the coach said he can sort that situation. So what's different with Saleh?
That's what we're saying. It's off the field matters.
Yeah,
So
if you can
yes.
sort Mbule's situation, sort Saleh too.
So
yeah,
are
I
you
also
telling-
feel, I mean, I don't know what the Saleng did at Pirates, but surely, man,
It can be forgiven.
this
but
thing could have been
It
sorted out.
doesn't stem from a player. That one.
I mean, okay,
can
whatever the
It's
situation
not the
is,
player.
whatever the situation is, surely somewhere, somehow, in all this time that this thing has been hanging, they should have found a way to solve it. I
Of course.
Sure.
The player can still make a contribution to the club. It's just a shame that the situation has hang on for such a long time. They should have found a way to solve it.
Yeah, no, because I remember Saleng had not trained with the team for long, but he came on against Al Ali at Orlando Stadium. You could see the special talent, and I really, but I've also heard that personal matters of Saleng extend beyond the field of play, and sometimes they've got nothing to do with the team. They're just personal problems. But let's just take it from there.
If you can sort
But I think we will see. We will see beyond the end of the next season.
Yeah.
ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani. So just to confirm those deals, Sihle Nduli, well, from my area, High Flats, le kwaqwathaza le kwaqwathaza le hey wena no nathi now sine player you know Hlokozi ne Hlokozi where Coach Madla comes from kube yithina ke High Flats kwaqwathaza mfana kithi
Sibe la iqopho.
hey wena
Uyabhulwa.
iqophe limantakade
Hey
hey wena
It's African connect. No. You cannot just go for one.
singabasa herikwana thina
Let's speak broken down.
Chineke Sipho Mbule yena lembuthuma Tshepang Moremi sinoxolo kwayiba nkosikhona Ndaba sorting out the right back there Masindi Nemtajela Tshepo Mashilwane I see other players maybe here even being loaned out and obviously we've seen
Still is gone back to Baroka.
Yes. Oswin Appollis. Yeah, no. I think they've got some serious good players here. We move just next door. Well, we are coming from here.
On their home turf.
On their home turf,
Yes.
the Calabash. This is where Kaizer Chiefs. So, looking at the signings that Amakhosi have made so far, I think I've counted Nkanyiso Shinga, Thabiso Monyane, Paseka Mako, Ethan Chinslet, Spesihle Ndlovu, and so those are the signings, and also Silva, the new striker. What do you make of Chiefs signings so far, based on their situation from last season?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe statement of intent in a way. Sometimes you really need to show that eagerness to try and improve your situation. It has not been good. Obviously, most of these players, some of them, I must say, not highly recommended. We don't know much about them, but the opportunity for them is there now to come through and really show what they can do. I know the fans are excited and all that kind of thing, and let's wait and see. Well, I've not seen much of this Chislet. I've not seen much of
the Silva.
Silva.
Yes, and also we can't really judge when we don't because we see from what we see on the video clips. Yeah. But maybe in fact there's a friendly match tonight. Yeah. That we're gonna see them for the first time.
So I'm cautious. I'm happy for them that they've made moves. But I'm cautious, and I mean, as we said here earlier on, that some of these guys go to these big clubs and they really don't live up to expectations. The stage will be there for them, and the good thing is that the coach is also there. He must have been involved in the scouting and the necessary things that happens behind the scenes. So let's wait and see. And also, I'm really interested in the two guys from Paris, Mako and
Monyane. Because we're told that Monyane is really is looking like he's looking like a first choice right back.
Mako is on the wrong side of 30, but I like him as a fighter. He's a guy who push.
Yes,
he will give them something for a season or two. Monyane need to take it to another level. I think. He almost sort of underwhelmed at Pirates. He never really fulfilled his potential. This is a chance for him to show what he can do. Possibly go to Bafana again and that kind of thing. Ndlovu, with Mart leaving, there's an opportunity there to compete because it'll be him, it'll be Gale and Cheslin and the guy from Stellenbosch. So there wouldn't be too much competition with one guy out. He will compete. He's also somebody who I think when he left Maritzburg, there was a lot expected from him. But he went to Pirates, he didn't really kick on. He went to SuperSport, he was on and off. This is a chance also for him to show us what he can do. Good signings, but the jury is out on what they can do for them this season.
I'm interested in this, especially the midfield area, especially when they are losing Mart. Remember, also they are releasing Castillo, which tells you that they are freeing that spot. They are still going to add another foreign player in that space because there are some players that they are still negotiating with. One of them, I know that everyone has been talking about him when it comes to that foreign spot. But Tanzania. Also...
The Tanzanian.
Yes, the Tanzanian, yeah. But also, even locally, they've got options because when you lose two players, Mart and Castillo, those are key players that you are losing. And I mean, I know that he's been injury prone and I think he's still out with a shoulder surgery, but coming back in September. He was released. He's a free agent. You saw what he did at SuperSport United when he was on loan from Paris.
I think we can wait for. I think we can still wait for Mabue. We need him. Chiefs, I think that's one of the signings in terms of a box-to-box player who has numerous box entries. And I think also, again, when it comes to Chiefs, you have to first study the model in terms of how they play. So I think also the players that they sign now are fitting in terms of the position. I'm not surprised with Monyane's positioning, which is, for me, he was a need to replace Forstler or also to back up Forstler. On the left-hand side, I would highly vouch for Shinga, even as much as I would not know much about him. But having the tactical and the technical side of things and playing on the other side of the world.
Yes, especially in Portugal. He's been here for there longer,
Yes, gives him an advantage more than Mako. One, when we scout and then when we look, firstly, it's the game model. Does the player fit in within the game model, which is, I think they have identified that. Then you go again, you start looking at attributes in terms of the technical side of it. And then you look at the physical side of it. And then you look at the psychological side of it. If you compare Mako and Shinga, two contrasting players. And when I've watched the snippets in terms of their training, I've seen a player that is very explosive.
Power,
On my side, that is very powerful. So, which is going to be a good fit in that positioning. And also coming in for Chesley, I think for him, he has made mention of the fact that he wants to cast his eyes in the Bafana by playing for a big team, because that also gives him the platform to make himself visible to Coach Hugo Bruce. So for me, I think the signings that they've made, and also with the Silver Flavio, as much as he's also been in Europe and then he's been playing in the so-called lower leagues, I think it's important to actually understand that when you find strikers, we need to make sure that what are strikers made to do? What is their role and what is their intent? When I looked at him, I looked at a striker that is very light-footed, that is good technically, because when they did part of the shooting drill, I saw how he was hitting the ball.
Yeah.
For me, as a coach, I start to look at that. As much as Greg was saying now off air that what's the use of having a goalkeeper that can play with his feet that can't dive? You understand what I'm saying? So for me, when you look at that striker, it looks like somebody that is really coached in terms of how to find spaces and the movement. So the signings that I've made, I will echo with Mr. Brian that it's something that they want to send a message and also to impose themselves and then give us the model that Chiefs really wanted to see. So I think this season is going to give us something. As today, as you said, we're going to watch them and see if everything is coming together. The philosophy is coming together.
We heard a lot about the goalkeeping department. Do you think they are settled? Because last season there were a lot of questions.
For me, I think there's nothing wrong. It's just last season was just a little bit bad season for. Not bad season in terms of, but the standard, former Chiefs goalkeeper, the Brian Baloy, Fernandez, Kune, Daniel Pay, they have set. Now these other goalkeepers need to catch up, So, and, in goalkeeping, it's a critical position. You can't be changing. If a goalkeeper make one mistake, you change him, you put the other one. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think the three goalkeepers are very good. Brandon is very good. Fiak is very, very good. I know him. He's very, very good. Sometimes the situation in the team can be different.
Yes.
Bruce is very, very good. I think this season it's a defined season for three of them. Whoever claim mistake and stay there, he must keep it for longer. Not play 2-3 games and go out and the other. So as a goalkeeper, you are a half team. A good goalkeeper, I always say, is a half team. People, get, motivation from you. The players get that encouragement when you make big save. Because as a striker scoring a goal, you as a goalkeeper, the save you make, keep the team in the game. So for me, the three goalkeepers are very good. How the goalkeeper coach handle the situation, that's going to be very important. And the other thing, you can save balls, but the striking role, for me, our head coach was talking about Flavio and what. But we have Peter in the market here. Peter, in the local market.
Yes.
That, with his eyes closed, he can give you 15 goals at Chiefs.
Yes, because I know that Terra will be going to, I think he's going to the Chan tournament. Yeah. So he must go and scout for a top goalkeeper there, possibly not for this season, but for the next season, because that's where they are going to get a top goalkeeper.
No, there's top goalkeepers in the PSL here. You need a goalkeeper, a seasoned goalkeeper in the PSL.
Why PSL?
Yeah.
Why PSL?
Because it's tested and trusted. If you go
but we're talking about international goalkeepers.
Yeah, international goalkeepers. You come here, you have to give him 3 months to settle because you have the situation already.
But you're not talking about some there, because there's PSL clubs with goalkeeper coaches are not qualified. Not everyone's qualified like you.
Yeah, but at the same time, as you are saying now, the goalkeeper is coming in. How the goalkeeper coach keeping top form? You see, a good goalkeeper, now you have to.
No, but you are qualified. That's the question.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, a good goalkeeper, the standard must be there. If a goalkeeper comes from a team that is good, and he comes to you, he mustn't drop down.
How do you vet it?
Because you have to know how the quality before you sign a goalkeeper. Before you sign a goalkeeper, you have to check the games he plays. As a qualified goalkeeper coach, you have to check, okay, he's good on this and this. He was playing like this. The situation in that team was a smaller team. Now he's coming to a bigger team. He's going to play sweeper role. He's going to make important save. Let me just give an example, if you can allow me. Like Rowan at Sundowns. He make vital save. Not that teams don't attack Sundowns.
Yes.
Teams do attack Sundowns.
Yeah.
When Sundowns attack the teams. So when they come to him, he made that big important save. That's why he's the best in the country. So if Rowan now, for instance, you take Rowan to Chiefs now, you can't automatically Rowan become a bad goalkeeper overnight.
Yeah.
So the goalkeeper coach or whatever is happening there, the standard must be there. You must know what he was doing at Sundowns, how he was good, things that he's good at.
Profiling.
You need to, improve him. So what I'm saying, every goalkeeper in the PSL is more, I think for me, they have advantage more in terms of to settle down quickly than a foreign goalkeeper.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes.
One of the most important stats that I was watching on the Club Foot World Cup was the fact that the distance that the keepers cover. One example that was picked up as an analysis point in the TSG group was Manuel Noah. Manuel Noah on how he covers ground and how he acts as a center back.
Yeah.
That's a lone center back.
Yeah.
That means the most important skill that he has to execute. It's the new modern goalkeeper. There's in our course, there's a model that we did.
Yeah.
Modern goalkeepers are the player keepers, which give you security in terms of that back line and managing that space between the team when the team plays a higher line. So he comes in, then he can read and intercept.
So when you've got a keeper who's not comfortable with his feet.
Yes, because remember, there's two types of build. Building up is not always at the back. You can build from a second phase, and if a goalkeeper is good on playing those balls, then is the one that actually helps.
1 minute. Let me just go into that. That's a big difference. You see, when you go to Sundowns, Chiefs, Pirates, you must have a goalkeeper that will make a save first and still play. Because when you're playing for a so-called smaller team, you're always on the back foot. You're just always going to make saves. You keep the team there. Because the team is already on top of you. So the only thing you need to do there is just to play a goal kick or make a good pass. They can see your attributes. But when you go to a bigger team now, you're going to be exposed because your team is going to play high line. And you are the one now to play.
Who must make them play?
Yeah, you have to play. You see, so
and also I think this is where I really agree with you, because if you go to the stats, offensively, Chiefs was very good last season, but it was maybe just a conversion, and also someone like Ethan Chislett. When you look at his stats in the offensive areas,
his heat map is very impressive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So that's going to be very interesting. Unfortunately, we are going to. I mean, especially the games that they're playing in Holland, there are a lot of matches that are being televised there. We're going to have a picture of what to expect. But I want to move. We're moving. Zizo, I'm closing with you. We are talking about everyone else here, but there's still 2 players that Kaizer Chiefs has signed, and promising top youth full talents, Velebai and Luke Bartman. But I guess those ones now are going to be decided in the boardroom.
I spoke to his dad, spoke to his dad, Baron Bantam. I asked him about the son. Where do you want your sons to go?
Wait.
He said it's still in discussion. Okay, go on.
So,
Let him continue.
Bantam is Maron Bantam's son.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look,
Is it?
that boy, I carried him like this when he was at Vets. I know that family.
that's why he's a good player.
No, he is. That
Okay. So now, what's the situation? What is the saying?
Well, he didn't want to go much into it because I think he manages him from a different angle as a father.
Yes,
So somebody that
yes.
is taking care of the affairs, because I didn't want to poke so much about it. Like, what's your thoughts of now you see the situation at Ajax? What's your thoughts? Where would you want to see your son? He tried to be tight-lipped, but I know throughout, you'd want to give his son a better opportunity where he can play for the biggest team in the country.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it will be good for Chiefs to get those young kids. Exceptional young talent. But whether they'll get opportunities right away, I don't know. They will be, if they go to Chiefs ultimately, Chiefs, the coach is gonna, there's pressure. He's gonna have to try and test that and get in the season going before he can start.
But Philippi was wearing the armband last season.
I mean, you know, I just don't think that. Though the fact that they are signing him shows that they trust him, they believe in him. But for him to be given a responsibility of starting a season and getting them going, I don't know unless if he comes and he just.
I know. I can tell you. I watched the boy. I watched him even last season, and I think also resilience through. Remember, Chiefs was supposed to have signed him last season already. And if you look at the boy has played over 100 matches. You know, when you put in top flight football and also even in the NFT. So he's been there, and he comes from the old system of Ajax Cape Town model, you know, and the fact that Chiefs, after not getting him last season, they've gone back for him, you know, and also I think we'll also agree that I dare say this, I dare say this, that he's also properly developed.
From that
from the system compared to other players who are coming from the Chiefs.
That they have, yes. No, definitely. He's definitely one for the future. I think maybe players like that, you know, in hindsight with what you have just said now, maybe show confidence. You know, you'll never know. I mean, Perez did with Raleigh. Knowing what we know now, he turned out to be a good talent. Perez did it with Nkota. Did it with TLB, so why not? Maybe show faith, give him a chance, and let's see. They've had a number of younger players at Chiefs over the last few seasons who really didn't, step up. Maybe he's the one who can come in and refresh the team. As it were, you know?
Yeah, but it must go to the boardroom first. Because
there's still a lot of stuff that needs to happen behind the scenes.
Because I know after what you said here last week, I mean, I've been getting a lot of calls. People say, no, but what are you talking about? And well, I stand by what I said. So that's all I'm going to say. And in fact, we're looking at possibly next week to bring in some legal eagles here, you know, who can just thresh out this.
Because the FIFA rules are very clear.
Exactly, and there are people who are for this, and also those who are not for it. Also, all legal eagles, you understand? So maybe they must come here and explain it properly, because if we are talking about the statement I made, people must not confuse the issue of Dax. I know that Dax is a foreign player, and that thing also was involving an issue of the issuing of an international clearance as well. But that is not my focus. My focus is on him not coming from, as Chiefs were claiming, that he's coming from an amateur league. But the basis there is the contract. And once you sign a contract, irrespective of whether you are playing in the amateur league, the status of the player changes.
And he signed a contract in a professional league.
Yes.
Exactly. But even if Zozo was playing in the ABC Motsepe, the moment an ABC Motsepe club can prove that there's a contract and this player is being paid, the status changes. So that's a story for another day, though.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, okay. I want to move out of transfers, but but we've discussed Chiefs, but one word. We have not heard from Sundowns. Do you think this is a very good approach from them? Because previously you'd be hearing of a Sundowns that has signed so many players, but one thing that was just seeing them now, they are cleaning the house.
Yeah. As much as they're releasing players, I think for them it's equally important for us to understand that Sundowns are on the mission, which is their mission is the CAF Champions League. As much as they are not signing, so they're making space or room for players that are fully deserving.
We think they're not signing. We think they're not signing.
No, they are going to sign.
Yeah, if they've not signed already.
Yes, they are going to be signing, definitely. But what they won't be doing is they will not be selling. They are not cash strapped. So for them, money is not an issue. They just come from the FIFA World Cup now.
More than 220 million rands in the bank.
Coach. Whatever player want to go to playing overseas.
Okay, no, you jumping the gun.
No, you say they are not catch. No, I'm not jumping the gun. You say you're saying not selling. A team like Real Madrid.
Look, I got a call from the US yesterday. And at first we were texting with this guy. And then he was like, hey, no, Ribeiro this, Ribeiro that, you know, can you help me with the numbers? I was like, hey, my guy, you know, and you're in the US, I know. Sundowns. Remember, Ribeiro, they got him from a European team, a Belgian team.
Yeah.
You know, so, and he says, no, hey, I was telling this guy who was this number that, hey, my friend, it's not possible. Sundowns is not a selling club.
That's what I'm saying. For him to leave, it's gotta be a top teams in Europe.
Yeah.
He can't just go to any Malacca league now, because Sundowns, I can tell you right now, Sundowns.
But there are serious offers for Ribeiro.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Europe now.
Thank you.
But Sundowns want to win CAF Champions League. That's why.
No, but I think they also realize Zizo, someone like Allende, because I think going to the Club World Cup, now finally at home in Chile they've watched him, and he's been here for longer now. If there's a serious offer, I think the Sundowns is going to consider now.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of him in town in Chile going to do shopping. They closed the shop for him to do shopping alone. That's how big he is. You know, and he's one player who I think last season he was a little bit off the boilish a little bit. He didn't really, you know, wasn't in tip-top condition the entire season. But there's still quality there. I mean, if you at some stage you had Arsenal and all those kinds of things, that says a lot. He's one guy who may leave. Ribeiro, definitely. And I think Sundowns really should, you know, be nice and let the guy go.
Thank you.
If well, obviously, I mean, the offer must be good.
Yeah.
We're not going to be disrespected by Europeans here coming with peanuts. The offer must be good. If the offer is good, Sundowns must just allow the guy to go. I think, you know, he can sort of explode in the full-scale Marvel at a bigger club, at a bigger stage. I'm not saying that undermine our league, but the reality is that if you go, you know, maybe Portugal or Belgium, whatever, you know, the stage will be bigger there. They must do a deal. For the other Sundowns players, you know, I'm a little bit saddened by guys like maybe Butebza and Ronwen.
Yeah.
I don't see them moving.
Kuliso has not signed his new contract yet.
You know, even with Kuliso, I maybe Belgium, but if he moves,
I don't want to mention Belgium a lot because Sundowns has bought players back from
Belgium. Yeah. So these guys can make a same amount of money.
Depends on the team.
You know.
No, but
Club Brugge, they're playing weekend Champions League. Yeah, Club Brugge is there. Anderlecht is there. For no.
I don't have a problem with the players going to Belgium. What I'm saying is, Sundowns has brought back players from Belgium because they could afford or even pay better than Belgium.
Depends on the club. You have
but
all those
also,
club,
if I am a
Kuliso,
Anderlecht comes knocking, you know, I'll consider it, even if it's the same amount of money. I mean, it's
but what we must clarify here, because the problem also was sitting with some fan bases that don't understand how football works.
Yeah.
When you're contracted to the club, it is not up to you.
Yes, the deal must be done between club and club.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is not up to you, even if you've got a desire. Even if I'm a Sipho Mbule, I'm a SuperSport kid, I want to go to Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah, that's just the reality.
But if Kaizer Chiefs is not paying what SuperSport wants, there's nothing I can do.
And also the buying club must want you first. Because
Exactly.
It's not that because you are a Batatsempatela, then everybody's looking for you. They must come looking for you. And then when you want me, they
must meet the
evaluation of the selling club. And they must make the money available, then I go. And also before I go, personal terms, and then we move.
Yes,
I mean,
we've
got former footballers.
Yes, because
who
us as South African football fans, as Bafana fans, seriously, about at least 5 for me, players who are at Sundowns now, should be in Europe already. Yeah. Because it makes our team stronger.
Thank you.
But there's nothing we can do when Sundowns doesn't want to sell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But, you understand? And also, to be fair, Sundowns feels that if you want them, pay this amount.
Yeah, pay this amount.
Look at what Ali is saying now. They are saying to the European clubs, you want the striker, Aliabo, Wasim Aliabo, you want him? Pay 10 million USD.
Okay.
And then they must pay it.
Boss, there's another situation now. You know, you have a club World Cup now. We just played now.
Sure.
In terms of Sundowns, there's a lot of players that shine in that tournament.
Yes.
But Rebero is, I think he's the one, the shining lights that any other team can play. But international player coming to Sundowns, you must have a clause. There's always going to be a clause somewhere in your contract. And if the other team that are willing to pay that clause, definitely, I mean, the club cannot hold it.
Remember, Dolly had the clause.
You understand? So when Dolly went to Europe, I mean, he went and become a good player. I mean,
But remember, he didn't just live like that. There was a big fight.
Tau had to fight.
So what I'm trying to say now, like Roberto now, definitely, I think he's going to have a clause in his contract.
Yes.
And what the performance he put out in this tournament, for me, I think a team can come out with a moment.
I mean,
and say, no,
this boy Maseko is not playing. There's a team in Cyprus, and Cyprus is also, for me, is a good league because when you're there, you are in front of the top European leagues.
Yeah.
But Sundowns is saying no because maybe they feel and I understand that the people in that club in Cyprus, in fact, they've been to say, for lack of a better word, they're heartful with how Sundowns has been handling the negotiations.
Because all I
And
know is
this is a player who's not been playing for the senior team, and this is a player who was at the AFCON. He has got a bronze medal.
Yes.
You know, so also sometimes these deals, it's not about just the evaluation. It's also about how internally this whole thing is being handled. Because also you don't want to be left with a broken player.
Thank you.
Yes.
which is the Saleng case. Yes, now you're don't thank me now. Thank me now.
Let's move. Let's move. No. We operate on time, Baba.
If the coach say I can handle Mbule
All
like
we
this,
know is that
handle Saleng like that. Yeah, one hand wash another hand. You have these two players, the same situation.
Zizo, all we know is
No.
let's move.
Lastly on Sundowns, I think also we must also treat Lebo Mutiba pretty much as a new signing. So we can pretty much say they've signed one player because he just started playing.
There's still the Shaluli Lemeta as well. I see they've released all these other players, but Ikodaro has not been released yet.
Maybe.
Maybe are they trying to block Ikodaro?
Because he was going, I think he was going there. So they won't sell him to this one.
Yeah.
Also another player that Chiefs can sign, Kotsia.
Yeah, there in the contract,
Let's move.
must be very tight there.
Let's move. I think injury there.
You need to be smart at how you structured the contract.
Yes.
If he's fit,
Top player.
No, it's needed. I think the medical staff at Chiefs, I know it personally. I think they can take care of it. It's a matter of taking it.
No, if he's fit, he's pretty much.
I can see Kosi here next to me is making his wish list.
Why not signing Peter?
Yeah, Peter, you know this.
No, Peter is still contracted to Sundowns. Don't believe everything you hear.
But you can break the bank for him. Compete. Compete.
Do you think Sundowns wants to strengthen Chiefs?
Or if Peter don't want to play, for
The
Sundowns.
question is, do you think Sundowns?
No, but if Peter don't want to
But
play,
gents,
you
let's
can't
move.
have unhappy players
Let's
in your
move
camp.
to the WAFCON. Guys, let's wrap up. And we're talking WAFCON. I've been very impressed with the quality of football that I've seen from some teams, but I must also say that there are some teams that have disappointed me. But there's a skill that I recorded yesterday, and I think we're going to put it up on our platforms on African Football Connect. Hey, a Malian player. I've not seen that skill in a very long time. But looking at the results, especially from the first game, the quality, what can you say? What have you seen so far, especially from the opening matches?
Well, I think most of the teams, the tactical trend so far is that teams are more now into venturing on getting more goals, and also structurally teams are more organized, where you find a lot of teams now are position dominant. So which is teams now want to have the ball a bit more than the others. Also having positional advancement in terms of how they get into the next phases and how they build up. So all these things, you're looking at your group tactics, you look at your individual tactics, and then you look at the team tactics. In terms of the team tactics, what are we talking about? We're talking about the style of play, how teams are playing and how they approach the match, the strategies. When you talk about tactics, who are the key players that we're looking at in terms of making a difference in the team? And then now when you look at individuals, we look at individuals that are more influential in the final third, whether key players in terms of in defense. So I think for me, that has been the most appealing thing to see, that how teams are actually setting up and how technically now teams have become.
And one of the things that I saw from that opening game against between Zambia and Morocco, in as much as you can see the quality of the player of the match there, Barbara Banda, but also I saw an over-reliance on Barbara Banda.
That's why she's the best in Africa. I mean, 58 seconds, they already delivered the goal. I think for me, I think she's one player in terms of this.
But it's not good for Zambia to rely on her, to over-rely on her.
If you have a player like Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, you can still carry the team. Not that the other players are just there, but they can contribute too. And I just feel like from the last tournament, the WAFCON, the last tournament, and this tournament, I think there's improvement in terms of how, tactically, as you say, coach, how teams are organized and how they're playing, because now you don't have too much gap. Before you have that 1-2 team, the likes of Nigeria, South Africa, and other countries, there's a gap. But now, in this tournament, the first game we watch, we've seen there's not too much gap.
Yes.
It's just, the experience, because some of the countries, they have players that plays, overseas, which is a plus, which is a plus. And you see the Super Falcon, the best team in the country.
Oh, yeah.
So, see what they did there. The basic, they just do the basic, just get the 3 goals and take the big guys out. And just,
But you're just playing Tunisia, not a superpower in women's football.
I mean, what is in front of you, you have to play. So they are in front of us, we take them out. So we're waiting for the next team, Botswana. Sorry for them,
You have an easy group, eh?
No, there's no easy group.
Over that.
We didn't put ourselves in
but
that group.
so yesterday we finally saw Monyane against Ghana. I've seen people saying, yes, we won, but if you look at the second half performance, the way Ghana came back, they hit the woodwork twice in that second half. And I mean, you could see a lot of things improved for Ghana, but also a hungry Ghanaian team, and also with a very good coach on the bench.
Yeah, I think Monyane did just enough. It was more like business-like. It's very, very important in this tournament to start with a win. It sort of relaxes the players confidence-wise. You know that you can do it. They were not at their best, but I'm sure, or I hope, that they grow into the tournament. As defending champions, you always have a target on our back. But also key players came to the party. I mean, Jermaine did very well, scored a goal. I'm a little bit concerned with Hilda. I don't know if maybe she's fully fit. We're going to need her as the tournament progresses, because she's our top striker. Considering the fact that Tembi is not there. I was also impressed with the influence of Refugee. She didn't at all look like a player who has not played that much of football. Talks to the quality.
The experience.
The other player who I feel we don't give credit enough is Linda.
Yes.
She has been one of the stars of this team. Mbani at the back, strong as always.
Player of the match.
I was also impressed with Andile Damini, the keeper. I've always wondered why the coach does not prefer that much, because I think, if we are to be honest, we've got a goalkeeper here. She's a better goalkeeper. Not that the other goalkeeper is not that good, but I think she's a better goalkeeper. You could see yesterday.
Her argument previously was that Kaylin is better with the feet, and I don't know. We were at the World Cup, and now we are at the WAFCON. She's playing Andile more than. Is there something, especially?
I think the difference is more.
For me, I mean, the last AFCON, I think Andile was one of the top keepers
Top.
there. You know,
Yes.
top keepers
Yes.
there. You know, I
No,
mean,
I'm just trying to check the correlation between.
No, I mean-
at the World Cup, you play this one. Is it
Yeah.
because it's different competitions? I don't know.
There's no. I mean, you always want to win a tournament, you know. So I
Okay.
mean, World Cup is the highest stage, you know, which you want to, you know, your profile, and as a coach, you want to do well. But I mean,
Based on the two goalkeepers, who would you play?
For me, it depends on because you know they're playing against Ghana. Ghana is a team that, you know, they're not going to cross a lot. They're going to shoot because that's basically West Africa. And you have Andile that is a shot stopper. You know, you understand? And yeah, she can play with her feet, with the feet off. You know, yeah, she can do that. But you know, with so I mean, it depends on the situation. Coach says now, depends on your build up and depends how. But she can save you. Me, I always say that for me, you know, those things can come after, but save the ball, not to go to the net.
Mm-hmm. But another thing, I think, as the nation, we'll also have to understand here, we have spoken about this before on this platform, that we are also sending as a team mixed with youth and experience. Yeah. And already some players are retiring after the tournament when we know that they're not returning back. So in how we're viewing the results or even the play, like Zizo is saying, that we must accept the results. But also, the performance, we must not rely too much on looking at the performance, because also we've got players who are making their debuts in the tournament, in this tournament, and what is important becomes the result.
Yeah, I think what's important also is the understanding this is a tournament. You
Yes.
can't play flashy football.
Yes.
This is result driven.
Yes.
Because should they have played one of the most beautiful football and lost, the nation will also be upset. So getting the result actually to help you to advance in the tournament. Like for instance, look at the ball position. They had 54%, 11 shots, 4 on target, and then they had 1 set plays, which is again, they didn't have the aerial power, which is to have more set pieces into the box, which is the only had 1 set piece. For me, what I've observed on this game was it was a good organization from the team with a lot of tactical flexibility. The variation based on the opposition adjustment, which is they went to a 4-4-2 diamond, which is we're trying to sit more deep and protect their lead. When they attack with the 4-3-3. That 4-3-3 gave them flexibility in terms of getting to the pocket and then wanting to breach or go behind Ghana's defense. When they were trying to squeeze up Ghana, there is a time where they play a 4-1-4-1, which is there to give defensive balance and also an offensive play. Final third entries, there was a lot of penetration, they gave more width and depth, and then there were a lot of combination play. Now, one of the players that actually came out top also, which is Tesane, on his 50th cap for Banyana. Lido Matlo, as you pointed out, highly experienced and he was influential in connecting the team to go forward. Sipho Mbule also with 25 goals and 124 caps, which again, the mixture now to your question, the young and the old is very important to have the blend, because 50% of Banyana's squad is still present with the youth coming.
Coach, it's time for you to skip the B and go to A.
Top technocrat, eh?
Now you're confusing me, man.
I'm not sure when you were doing the build-up to the tournament, I'm not sure if it was shared that Jermaine might not be with the team throughout the tournament.
It wasn't. The only thing I know with regard to Jermaine was that he's retiring after this tournament. As to whether he's not going to be here for the rest of the tournaments, I have not heard anything.
Because I hear that
that will be a big shame.
She could be leaving and then coming back. But I think maybe she will only miss the last game.
Maybe she will only miss the last group match.
Because she becomes crucial now.
Yeah, she's very important. I mean, you can see the influence she has in the team. There was a video they shared when she arrived, because I think she arrived late to camp at the end. You know how happy the other players were happy to see her and that kind of thing. She's pretty much one of the few remaining players from that group of the guys who have just retired now. She's big for the team. And you know, I don't know if she's going to stay or go. The other point I wanted to raise is that I'm a little bit disappointed with South Africans. The volume is very low in terms of our support to these ladies. We should.
But don't you think this is what is happening now? South Africans not really, you know. Remember, even the last time when the team won the WAFCON, there was no noise. The noise in South Africa only becomes, even from government and from everyone,
Yeah, yeah.
the noise only becomes when a team has won.
Yeah.
I was there with Amachita. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
These
so
politicians will be sitting there at the airport.
yes, and also this is the treatment that we are giving to women's football in this country, and I think it's good that Kaizer Chiefs came out today and also confirmed the story that we were doing about home sweepers. You know, at least when you've got bigger clubs more involved with women's football, following on the footsteps of the likes of TS Galaxy, Mamelodi Sundowns, Stellenbosch, even in their grave, the only team that's still active for Royal AM is the women's team. You know, so it's for me, it's just everyone's. So we've been sharing this. Us as the media, we're not really supporting women's football the way it's supposed to be supported. I don't even want to talk about the
The ones
fans.
from the round building. I don't think they even know what's it.
You know,
That's
you know,
if they are even aware that they
exactly. But I'm more interested, Oga, in this Super Falcons team. You can see their hunger. It was good that Asad Oshola got the first goal, but one of the players that impressed me there, and she also scored in this game, Rinsola Babajide. You know, we know about Rashidad, but it's good to see some talent coming up in the team.
I mean, a lot of good talent. I mean, she's played at Liverpool, the female team. I mean, you know,
Yes.
I just feel like, you know, the Nigerian team that goes to this tournament, I think there's a lot of experience, you know, mixed with the youths and experience. Actually, he knows that. I mean, this can be one of the last tournament for her. She has done everything, you know, and you can see the hunger in her. She wants to get something. She wants to push the team, you know. I just feel like, you know, if for a very long time the WAFCON team haven't been balanced like this one, you know, so you can see from the goalkeeping side to the attacking side, even to the bench, you know. I mean, you have the luxury.
With all the monies that they are owed, I saw a list of what they are owed. Those girls.
A lot of money. I mean, the way they treat the male team in Nigeria, I mean, they owe them too, but I mean, they pay them, you know, as time goes on. But no, it's too much.
It's too much.
I just feel like, you know, it's time for the Nigerian Association. I think, you know, the FA need to come and take the Falcon seriously in terms of what they deserve. You know, I mean, with this tournament shows that you see they really put in efforts there. You know, I just feel like, you know, as the tournament goes on, we see if they can pay them their, you know, allowances, not for this camp. I'm talking about, you know, like 2 camps back, you know, tournaments, you know, but I think those things are going to be resolved. You know, we have a great guy, you know, like Shehu Diko that gets involved and really love, you know, the progress of Nigerian football. So I feel like, you know, he's going to sort out this situation because he's one of the great administrative guys we have in Nigeria now. So I just feel like he's going to look into the matter and make sure he deals with it.
Talking of... Well, we still wanted to continue, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tough one. I know there are a lot of points we still wanted to discuss. So 1.8 million rands that teams will be getting just to participate in the prelims of the CAF Champions League and CAF Confed. We wanted to discuss Coach Rulani. Is he going to Algeria? Is he going to Tanzania? Well, yeah, unfortunately, it ends here. We'll come back with all those points next week. For now, we say, Jambo Africa.
Asante sana.
Shiga.
Shika.